Welcome back to Empowered Educator. I'm your host, Dr. Mel. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk about positive school culture. Now, in the title, it said the number one way, but there's actually going to be 12 ways. There really isn't just one way. You have to do a lot of work. And these are just 12 of the ways, 12 tips. There are so many more. As a building principal, it's your job to shape the culture of your building to ensure that you have a conducive learning environment for your students, your teachers, and your staff, and how you can include parents in that positive school environment. As a building principal, you play a pivotal role in shaping the culture of your building and promoting that sense of belonging, safety, respect, and high achievement. The tips I share with you today are going to show you how to cultivate and maintain a positive school culture in your educational community. So you might want to grab a pen and paper and maybe something good to drink. Let's get started. Hi, friend. Are you ready to move into a leadership position? Do you have interests and ambitions that you want to pursue, but feel like you don't know how to take that next step? Maybe you want to start your own coaching or consulting agency. I'm Mel, and I help educators define their career path through correct mindset, knowing your options, and getting prepared for your career transition. I will show you how to level up your leadership skills, share your expertise in a new way, create impact on a larger scale, and put your leadership in motion. As an educator for over 20 years, I started to feel underused and like I had more to give. I knew when the time had come for me to leave the classroom and affect change on a larger level. Now, I'm ready to help you determine where your talents and skills mesh with your passions and interests. Put your leadership in motion and move into that next phase of your educational career journey. Let me help you define your career path by having the right mindset, knowing your options, and getting prepared for that next leadership position. So power up and put your leadership in motion. Hey guys, thank you for joining me today. I'm so glad you're here to listen to another episode of Empowered Educator. I love that you are out there listening. And if you would just take one quick second to give me a rating and a review, I would really appreciate it. Also, hit that subscribe button. When you give me a rating and a review and hit the subscribe button, it helps me reach more people with my message. And I would love to have my show grow so I can make a bigger impact in some way. And if you know someone who might enjoy the show, please let them know about me so I can expand my reach. Between teaching, being a principal, and with my educational consulting, I have been in a lot of different buildings. I've been in rural, suburban, urban, and I've seen different cultures in different buildings. And as I was thinking about what to do for today's episode, I was going back through some notes that I had, and I came across something that was talking about culture. And I thought, that is a really important area that someone moving into an administrative position really needs to think about. Positive school culture has been linked to improved academic performance. It increases student engagement. It reduces behavior problems, which is a win for everyone. And it enhances the overall well-being of your students, your staff, your parents. When students feel safe, respected, and supported, they are way more likely to excel academically and to participate actively in their learning. And increased student engagement often leads to better attendance rates, which we know is a struggle sometimes, and just a greater overall enthusiasm for the school activities, for learning. It leads to better citizenship and students who are way more inclined to follow the rules and exhibit good conduct when they feel valued and understood. And another benefit is that it enhances the overall well-being of everyone. Students feel emotionally and socially secure and are better equipped to handle stress and challenges. Teachers and staff have some benefits as well. There's higher job satisfaction and a more collaborative work atmosphere. When a building principal fosters a sense of community, trust, and inclusivity, it creates a supportive environment where everyone thrives. And I have a few tips on how to promote that positive school culture. Number 1, lead by example. Model that positive behavior that you want to see. Model communication and respect toward others. For example, you feel much better when you get to work and somebody says good morning to you or says hello to you. As the building principal, it's your job to do the same thing. Make sure that you are greeting your teachers, your students, and your parents every day and use their name because students love it when you recognize them by name. Your actions set the tone for the entire school community. Number 2, encourage open communication. Create avenues for students, teachers, staff, parents, all to share their thoughts, their ideas, their concerns. But you have to give them an avenue for that. You could hold some town hall style meetings, have a suggestion box, coffee and connect with your parents, digital forums. People have a hard time getting places nowadays. Everybody's busy. So digital forums, it's a great way where everyone feels heard and they feel valued. Their opinions, their words, and their thoughts can all be heard because that digital connection gives them access where they might not have otherwise been able to connect. Number 3 is to promote inclusivity. Celebrate diversity and ensure that all members of the school community feel valued and respected. Organize some cultural events, diverse reading programs, and inclusive policies that reflect and honor the backgrounds of all your students and staff. I've been to some different cultural events within buildings that I've worked in, and it's really cool to learn the different cultures and get to see the things that they do in their culture. And students love to share about themselves and the things that they do from their own cultures. Or even just within their own households. Families do things differently. I now date someone who is an Italian, and even the way they prepare some of the things that I prepare is completely different. Chili, to me, is hamburger and beans and chili powder and a little bit of tomato. They put macaroni in theirs. I don't agree with it because that's not chili to me. That's chili mac, but whatever. I will eat it. I will be happy, or I'll pick around the noodles. But on the flip side of that, my boyfriend's mom makes an amazing coffee cake that is so good, and we can eat that with every meal, and I'm totally fine with that. So that part I love. Number 4, get to know your community. Build strong connections with your students, your staff, and their families to create a sense of belonging. Take time to learn about their interests, their challenges, and their successes. Host some informal gatherings like the Coffee and Connect that I talked about with your parents, or maybe some lunch sessions with your students to foster those closer relationships. There was a really difficult class that, man, I'm telling you, they ran some teachers off. It was rough. It was a rough year for them. And I decided that I would start having a lunch with the boys on one day, the girls on another day, just to get to know them and build that relationship with them. I can't say that it fixed everything, but it definitely helped. Number 5, hold everyone to high expectations. Establish clear, high expectations for behavior and academic performance for your students and your staff, but for yourself as well. When I was going to college, my students knew that. My teachers knew that. Everybody knew that I worked hard to make sure that my grades were where I wanted them to be, that I was getting my homework done because I wanted to set an example for my students and my staff. Communicate those high standards regularly and provide the support needed to help make sure that everybody meets them. For example, recognize and celebrate academic achievements with your students and your staff because you will have some staff that's taking college courses. They're getting either a master's degree or maybe some of them are getting a doctorate degree. Make sure that you recognize those achievements and recognize the positive behaviors in your staff and your students. We recognize our students for good attendance, but sometimes we forget to recognize our staff for good attendance. And it's really important to recognize them and make sure that everybody else knows that we've recognized them for that good attendance. And it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. Your students, you can do a drawing for them. You could put them up on a bulletin board. You can recognize them verbally over the intercom. You can recognize them in private. They don't care as long as they're recognized. Teachers, they want a jeans day, or they want you to buy them a soda. That's all it takes. Or give them an hour outside of their classroom where you take over and you read the students a book. There are so many ways that you can recognize the positive behavior in your teachers, to encourage positive behavior in your other teachers, and to keep the positive behavior going with the teachers you've recognized. Your teachers aren't necessarily looking for recognition, but let me tell you, they probably really appreciate it when you do recognize it. Number 6, provide really good professional development. Offer training and support for teachers to enhance their skills in creating a positive classroom environment. They may not know how, and they may need some help on that, especially new teachers. But also talk to your teachers and see what they need and make sure that they are getting what they are asking for. If you have teachers who don't understand data or how to analyze data and use that data going forward, then provide workshops to help them do that. If you have teachers who don't really understand how to differentiate for their classroom, then teach them how with some really good professional learning. Make sure that it's ongoing, that it's relevant to what they need and to their situation, and make sure that there is feedback and follow-up. Number 7, create a safe physical environment. Ensure that the school environment is safe, clean, and conducive to learning. I had a teacher one time who her classroom was not really the cleanest or uncluttered. And I almost tripped over a pile of books in the middle of the room one day. And that was it. I couldn't even walk in that room. And students weren't able to learn in an environment like that. When I was a teacher, I was a little bit obsessive about a clean room and things being put back where they belonged. I taught my students to take ownership of the classroom. I did classroom economy. So it didn't just fall on me to make sure that the room was kept nice. The students took ownership for that. But you can get teachers on board with that when you, as the building principal, inspect the school premises on a regular basis. Make sure it's clean. Make sure that you talk with your janitorial staff about making sure there's toilet paper and paper towels and soap in the bathrooms at all times. We can't teach our students to wash and dry their hands if they have no access to soap. And security, I would think, is a given and something that you think about on a regular basis as well. I'm not going to go into it very deep today. I'm just going to touch on it like I just did, and I'll go into it a little deeper in a different episode. Number 8 is promote social emotional learning, SEL. Incorporate programs that focus on empathy, resilience, emotional intelligence, leadership in your students and staff. There are great programs out there that you can invest in. You have some people in your building that can help you with that. Introduce activities like mindfulness and peer mentoring, and make sure you have a really good character education program for your building. Number 9, seek feedback and evaluate. Regularly gather feedback from stakeholders and assess the effectiveness of your initiatives. When you reflect and you get feedback from the stakeholders, then you're able to improve on a continuous basis. Use some surveys, have some focus groups, a feedback form, so you can understand what's working and what's not, and where you need to improve and how you can improve. You get some great information from teachers and parents. Even your students can help you know what needs to be improved. Number 10, be visible. Make sure that you are present and approachable throughout the school day. Don't just hole up in your office and stay there all day. Walk the hallways, visit classrooms. When I was going through the leadership development program, our catchphrase, I guess, is every classroom every day. Visit your classrooms every day. Your students love seeing you walk in. Your teachers appreciate it when you're coming in. And you're not in there just to evaluate them. You're in there to say, hello, hey, do you need anything? I'm just checking on you. I wanted to see what was going on. I love your teaching. Give them some feedback while you're in there that's not negative. So when you do go in the classrooms on an evaluative capacity, your teachers aren't as apprehensive because you've already built that relationship by coming in a non-evaluative capacity. When you are a building principal, your school day isn't just during the school day. You have to attend school events and show your commitment and your support. Go to ball games. Go to events that your kids invite you to. There are some things that happen outside of the school that they are part of. Some of them may be theater, or they do things in their church that they want you to come and see. You may have some teachers and students who are amazing musicians and they perform outside of the school, and you can go and watch them and support them that way. Your visibility inside the building and outside of the building demonstrates leadership and accessibility, and it fosters that trust within your school community. And I already touched on number 11 just a tiny bit, but it is to promote leadership with your students, your teachers, and your parents. Encourage leadership opportunities at all of those levels. If you don't already have some, develop some student councils, maybe some teacher leadership programs. And you want your parents involved, guys, because the more involved your parents are, the more invested they are and supportive of what you're doing with inside of your building. Create a parent advisory board that involves your parents and the community in the decision-making processes. And it promotes a shared sense of responsibility. Like I said, if they're involved, then they're invested. The worst feeling I ever had as a parent was not feeling like I was allowed to be part of my own children's educational career. When you feel excluded as a parent, you really don't want to address anything. So when something does come up that you have to address on a not so great context, it doesn't really make you want to be part of that when you're a parent, when you're excluded from everything. And parents have some great ideas, and there are some really motivated parents out there, and you want them on your side, and you want them helping you do things. There are some parents in your educational community that have some very good connections in the community, and they can leverage those connections to help your school thrive. And last but certainly not least, celebrate success. Acknowledge and celebrate the achievements of your students, your teachers, your staff. Even some of your parents have some great successes that you want to celebrate. Host award ceremonies, send out recognition letters, share successes in your school newsletters. This is going to boost the morale and the motivation of everybody in your building. When you're fostering or cultivating a positive school culture, you as the principal have the opportunity to shape the culture of your school and create a supportive environment where everyone can thrive. And by implementing the tips that I discussed, you can promote inclusivity, communication, respect, and that sense of well-being within your educational community. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. I hope you have an amazing weekend. I hope you're getting to enjoy a little bit of time off so you can relax and recuperate before you head back to school in a few weeks. I have a birthday coming up next week. My birthday just happens to be July 5th. So it's always a great celebration. I always loved July 4th because we shot off fireworks. My grandma and grandpa, this is when I was little, my grandma and grandpa would come up when it was dark. We would shoot off fireworks on the 4th. And then on the 5th, it was my birthday. It was so cool. I loved having July 5th birthday. It was like this big, long celebration. And I hope that you guys are going to get to celebrate next week. Maybe do some barbecuing, shoot off some fireworks, maybe even go floating or something really fun like that. Whatever it is, I hope you have an amazing time, and I hope you're able to rest and relax and rejuvenate. Thank you again for tuning in. I will see you back here, same time, same place next week. Bye-bye.